Shemai, my lovelies, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Something that I've started doing quite recently, as in like this week, is that I've started making YouTube videos, and this isn't like a plug or anything. This is just kind of explaining why I'm here on video, trying to get used to it. It's very weird. I'm not very good at it, but if you don't know who I am one of the 2020/2021 TANGGS co-presidents. My name is Lucas. I was also president last year, and now I'm very lucky to be sharing this role with Lola. I just wanted to come on video today to, I don't know, partially check in, be like, hey, TANGGS still here. We are gearing up for the year ahead, even though it's of course going to be very different. But I also thought I could record one of the talks we did last year. The society was very small then, so also it was like an in-person talk that I gave, written by the amazing Ashley Stone, who is our treasurer this year. Last year they were our social media secretary, officer, whatever, social media and publicity human. Because it was an in-person talk and the society was, brand new. There wasn't much attendance, so I thought we already have the content. Maybe if I record it, obviously TANGGS is quite a bit bigger now, but also if people can watch it from the comfort of their own home, if they want, then yeah. So this talk is about LGBT plus icons throughout history. As I said, it was written by Ashley, and I'm very thankful to them for that. Many of us have our own personal icons, whether that is Taylor Swift or Kanye or our friends and family. There is someone in the world that we admire and that we look up to. But how much do we know about the icons of the LGBT plus community? Most of us have heard of Marsha P. Johnson. An amazing woman and self-declared drag queen, the best-known mark she left on the community is throwing the first brick at Stonewall, starting a riot that became a mark of the battle of LGBT plus rights. But what else did she do? Well, she actually denied having started the riots. She personally testified that she arrived 30 minutes into the riot, so it would have been quite impressive if she'd thrown the first brick that started them. There are also kind of rivaling stories claiming Marsha threw a shot glass at a mirror in the already burning building, and she shouted, "I got my civil rights," and since then the shot glass incident has been heavily disputed. It's believed that the brick story came from when Marsha, I say when because there are witnesses that kind of actually agree on this bit, but she climbed a lamppost and dropped a bag of bricks on a cop car. Icon. Following the riots outside of the Stonewall Inn, Marsha joined the Gay Liberation Front and took part in the first Christopher Street Liberation Pride. On the anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion, one of the most notable direct actions by Marsha was when she and the Gay Liberation Front staged a sit-in protest at New York University because the university cancelled a dance that was being sponsored by a gay organisation. I went into this, I made a video about Marsha P. Johnson. I went into this a bit more on my channel, but it's really shocking to us that a university would have sponsored a dance because of something gay, where it, especially as a group that is quite directly tied to a university. But I think it's really important to remember that this was in the 60s and 70s where homophobia was the norm. It wasn't quiet. It was outright homophobia constantly. Luckily, it's not like that anymore in most places, thanks to people like Marsha. In 1972, Sylvia and Marsha established Star House, a shelter for gay and trans youth living on the streets. they paid the rent on this house with money they made as sex workers. Marsha was viewed as the drag mother of the house, following the tradition of chosen family, which I'm sure we can all imagine how strong the element of chosen family must have been in this house of previously homeless LGBT plus youth, with these amazing women who took them in. Marsha actually founded Star with someone called Sylvia Rivera. I also have a video of her on my channel. But Marsha actually gives Sylvia all of the credit for Star and Star House. And it was following the kind of start-up of Star that they both became visible members at gay liberation marches and other radical political acts in the 1970s. In 1973 specifically, drag queens were banned from marching in gay pride, because it was kind of the feeling was that they gave the LGBT plus community a bad rep. So to kind of protest this, Marsha and Sylvia actually marched ahead of the parade, so they essentially led it. I've mentioned Sylvia a couple of times now, so let's talk about her, because she is, for me, definitely one of my personal icons. She met Marsha when she was only at age 12, but her activism kind of really started when she was 18, when she joined the Gay Activist Alliance in 1970. Sylvia battled addiction for many years, and she also lived amongst the gay homeless community at the Christopher Street docks. This may have been why she focused her advocacy on those she kind of witnessed being left behind by society and even within the LGBT plus community. She initially fought for people of colour and low income LGBT plus people, but she also did an amazing job of amplifying the stories of her community and spreading the messages of the most vulnerable, such as drag queens and transgender people, as well as homeless youth and gay inmates. I actually just recorded the second half of this video and I was like basically at the end, and then my phone crashed. So here we are, take two. I mentioned in my other video that I'm sorry, it just popped off. I had to reply to a message to my housemate, so you know the shot might be completely different because I'm not a professional. I think we were talking about Sylvia. I'm a little bit currently obsessed with Sylvia. I think her life is so interesting. I'm so grateful for all that she did. As I mentioned, there is a video on my channel that I made yesterday about her if you want to head over. But the following thing that I was just talking about, sorry, I'm a little angry, is UK activists across the pond, because Sylvia and Marsha were in New York City. Shockingly, the activists in the UK are a little bit more problematic, kicking off with a bang with Christine Burns. She is well known because of the work she's done for Press for Change. But the reason she's problematic is she's a Tory. She is trans. She came out as trans to the Tory party in 1995. And has recently said some interesting things, as Tories do. But moving swiftly on. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all political. She may be a personal icon of yours. I don't know that much about her. But moving on to Press for Change, which is kind of she's done work with them. Press for Change is a UK-based campaign group. UK-based campaign group which focuses on rights and treatments of trans people. It was founded in... I'm so sorry. Press for Change was founded in 1992 on the 27th of February by Mark Rees and Stefan Whittle. Stefan Whittle A fascinating guy. He is trans. He has a PhD and he has done a lot of activism in his life. He came out in 1974 and kind of immediately became active in trans communities. A year later after he came out, when he was 20. He joined the Manchester trans group, which was founded by 2 trans women, and the Manchester group specifically is interesting because it is believed to be the first support group for trans people in the UK. In 1989, he founded the UK's FDM network and coordinated it until 2007. From 1989 to 2007, he was vice president for Press for Change when they went to Parliament with the Gender Reassignment Act in 1994. Unfortunately, this act did fail, but I have a really good quote from Whittle. "I face an inadequate legal framework in which to exist. We are simply not within a world that only permits 2 sexes, only allows 2 forms of gender role, gender identity or expression. Always falling outside of the norm, our lives become less, our humanity is questioned, and our oppression is legitimised." I love that quote, sorry. In 2007, he was the first trans person and non-medical professional to become president of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Even to this day, he speaks about his experience as a trans man, and transitioning and pushing for laws that protect us. I don't want to get into how ridiculous it was that until 2007 there wasn't a trans president for the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, whatever. Kind of bringing it more into the present day, more up to date. Another trans activist is Paris Lees. She's amazing. She is a journalist and a presenter, and she founded the first British magazine aimed at the trans community, which is called Meta, META. She has columns in Gay Times and Diva, and she was the first trans cover girl for Diva. She's also written for mainstream media like The Independent, The Guardian, Vice, Channel 4, and she was the first trans woman presenter on BBC Radio 1 and Channel 4. She produced a documentary called The Hate Debate, where the way people treat minority groups was considered, alongside racism, homophobia, transphobia, and Islamophobia. Paris was praised for the way she introduced teenagers to trans concepts of identity within and outside of the gender binary. I personally find it really reassuring that there is someone in our corner working in mainstream media, because media can be incredibly damaging to anyone, but it has actively been quite damaging to the trans community. So I'm personally really reassured because of Paris's work, and I think she's doing amazing, and I'm really thankful. Sorry, I really didn't want my video to delete again, so I did just kind of save that one and make another one. Recording on my iPhone because I'm a professional. Paris Lees is also working with Transmedia Watch to push media to remove transphobic material from its broadcasts. She provided guidance to media outlets that want to cover trans people, and currently working with All About Trans to bring media professionals and journalists together with trans individuals to create more accurate representation. She has also done work to defend sex workers and has presented evidence at the Home Affairs Select Office about their conditions. And this evidence led to the removal of criminal records for prostitution-related crimes. These are just some activists and icons of the past and present, and we focused on trans activism here. But there are so many others working for trans people in the trans community who deserve to be shown love for their work. Just a quick list of some people that, if you're really interested, you can look into. Sami Outabali has been helping to build an inclusive LGBT plus community. Chella Mann is a deaf and trans activist. Miles McKenna, Finn the Fantastic, and Jamie Dodinger, I think, are trans YouTubers who share their story and share a lot of aspects of their life. So if you like YouTube videos other than me, no, you should definitely go check them out. And Peppermint is a trans woman and a drag queen. There are a lot more. We are lucky to, as a community, have a lot of icons. Of course, the reasons why we have to have a lot of icons, because we have a lot to fight for, less lucky, but we have those icons. Let's just be thankful for that. Of course, these, also the ones we've talked about, might be some communal idols, but we also have personal idols, of course. If you want to share a bit about your idols in the comments below, I would actually really love to read those comments. Also, if you have any questions or want any links, we're always happy to chuck some links at you. Let's just try and start an active conversation in the comments so that we can all share and learn about each other's personal idols. Thank you so much for joining me. And like I said, yeah, I would really love to hear about some of your idols, so just pop it below. Bye!